The moment it does, everything is just unbearable. The first thing that hits my nostrils is a gassy, greasy smell of something burning, like stir fry left too long in a steel pan. I instinctively cover my nose with my sleeve. The stench presses past my fabric, filtering through every thread like a worn sieve. The house is dark, beyond dimly lit. Not a single light flickers within sight. Even on the electronics, every curtain is fastened shut, leaving only stray pinpricks of light seeking through the windows. A strange curdle of fear fastens in my stomach. I push the door wide open, my voice cracking. Uncle? Auntie? Rui? A flood of sunlight washes around my figure, bathing the living room in an ivory glow. What it reveals is cruel, unforgiving, as bleak as it is bright. Shards. It's the first thing my eyes land on. Fragmented, torn-edged shards of metal, wood, glass, all strewn around the floor and the furniture. Cushions with ragged seams are scattered on the ground, accompanying their toppled armchairs and sofas. The family pictures, usually in pristine conditions on the walls, are hanging askew. Flames cracked and pictures sagging through broken glass. Transfixed in shock, I step forward, my eyes roving around to take in the scene. I pass by the narrow doorway that leads to the kitchen. Rui and I used to play tag there, back in the day. That, and we'd try to climb up the doorframe by pushing against opposite sides with our hands and feet. I've done that. Now all I can see is a pan settled on the stove, old oil dancing over a blackened food. The stove's still alight. Doesn't take a genius to realize it's the source of the smell. Fire hazard in any other circumstance. And yet, it doesn't feel like fire is the worst to come. I almost chuckle. Maybe they were preparing for my arrival. Hospitality was always their strong suit. But despite that, abandoned cooking, lit stove, burning food. What the fuck is that? These signs all point in the same direction as the destruction before me. Something that winds in a lazy path, winds in a lazy path to the dining room. Glass crunches beneath my shoes as I stop by the joining corridor, lifting my eyes slowly to the dining table. Dread. Oh God, what is happening? I'd often felt it in my life, the black, slick sensation in the pit of my stomach that sloshed with every step I took, that rose as bile to my throat. It crushed my lungs until I suffocated on my own breath. But I had never felt it like this. I stagger against the wall, my heart stopping cold in my chest. Rui's father is slouched against the table, head pressed almost comically into a bowl of soup, his hands hanging idly at his side. blood is coated over the back of his skull, crusting over his neatly kept hair and swimming in the soup that covers his face. His skin is pale, lifeless, his joints solidified from rigor mortis. He's dead. How could this happen? My vision spins angrily before my eyes. I feel the automatic response of conscious slipping away. No. I wrestle reality back into my grasp, jerking away from the terrible scene. I have to call the police, to get help, do something. I stumble out of the dining room, jamming at my phone with trembling fingers when my foot catches against something stiff and creaky and something very human. Rui's mother, blank-eyed, cuts from the shattered fragments on the floor covering her body, jaw-locked in shock at an unseen assailant. A bullet hole is placed squarely in her chest, soaking her clothes and the carpet around her with blood. Clutched in her frozen hand is a pitiful capsule of pepper spray. A laughable self-defense when surrounded by such devastation. I shakily pull myself to my feet, my breath coming fast and heavy. Too late. Dead. It's all my fault. Rui. Where's Rui? I stagger upwards, vision still twisting as I pull myself along the wall and into the kitchen. She might still be alive. She might be okay. By the way, fucking Natsuki. I know it. My own mind ridicules this senseless hope, and yet I feel strength bursting into my limbs, clearing my mind for one vital minute. Let's invent a little story. Let's say that once upon a time, a terrible murder occurred at an unsuspecting faux suburban home. 2 adults, accomplished adults, beautiful and gentle adults, were brutally shot to death. Let's say that their home was ravaged. The shards of wood, glass, metal, and ceramics littered the ground so heavily that it was impossible to take a single clear step. But let's say their sacrifices were not in vain. That despite this blindsiding crime, their daughter, their precious little girl, was able to escape. This daughter found refuge. She waited for her friends. She was terrified, she was upset, but she was alive. Let's invent this little story and pretend that it's true. Let's sleep in peace, wrapped in hope, ready to fight for a brighter tomorrow. But stories, no matter how beautiful, are always so very wrong. Because in the kitchen there is an island counter. At the edge of the island counter, there's a sickening lump of blood that lazily oozes down the cabinet. And below this island counter, oh God. Damn it. Something very, very mocking. The hope that it dared to rise in my chest crashes down my lungs, driving all breath from my body. My eyes are peeled open, unblinking, as if staring will somehow get rid of the sickening display. No, this isn't true. I crumple against the floor, splattering blood over my knees. I taste something metallic on the corner of my tongue. Visceral memories, barely 3 months old, surge to my eyelids. No, this was over. Everything was over. Isn't true, isn't true, isn't true, isn't true. Pipes screaming, wood on metal, and a knife sinking deep into flesh. No, 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 no. I seize the nearest object, a renegade shard from a nearby shattered bowl, and gash it violently against my skin. It should skitter across the surface or glide like ice, or feel distant, quiet, 7 worlds away. But my arm shrieks in protest as the edge digs into the flesh, drawing slow, weeping blood. I can only stare as it throbs. Not a nightmare. Not a dream. Nothing but reality. Oh. So, I thought he was cutting himself because he was like snapping. He was checking to see that this wasn't a hallucination like he has. Bile claws up my throat until I retch against my mouth. I barely manage to turn away in time. Digested saliva drips from my lips and seeps into cracks of the tiled floor. A vision, a hallucination, some other explanation. Not this, never this. My sweat is ice cold against my skin. I'm shivering with such intensity that my bones rattle in my eardrums. Pipes, knives, vomit, blood, smoke, flooding, exhaust. No, this was supposed to be over. This was supposed to be behind us. She was safe. She made it home. She wasn't at school. She was safe. I forced my eyes to drift down, engraving every corner, every color, every spike of light into the deep recesses of my mind. Eyes glazed, mouth slightly agape, a remnant of surprise. She's dressed nicely. So nicely, I don't even remember the last time I saw her out of uniform. She's even wearing jewelry. I choke over my own voice. Right. She thought of dressing nicely today. She thought of meeting up with me. We were gonna have a little dramatic scene. Something to do with I like you and me too, maybe. We were gonna eat together with her family. Maybe being embarrassed, maybe being understanding. Who knows what decisions we would have come to. But that is a different world. I reach to her cheek, touching her jaw with the edges of my fingertips. There should be warmth. Pulsating life. I almost expect to feel her breath against my palm. Cold. Still. Unnatural. A mannequin manufactured by fate. A small sigh expels from my lips, washing against her bangs. Rui, wake up. Her eyes are open, unblinking. Her staring contest on the other side of life. She's not here. I retract my throbbing arm back to my side, slumping unceremoniously against the kitchen island. Did I do something wrong? Like, is this a bad end? Shouldn't I scream for help? Shouldn't I wail in anger? But I only feel a numbness settling over my skin. Something deep, calm, like a lake frosting over in the face of fresh snow. Of course it would be Rui, just like it was Mizu. There doesn't need to be any logic, there doesn't need to be any sense. All there has to be is cold, unforgiving injustice. All there has to be is misery, pain, suffering. Death can strike wherever it pleases, so long as it receives its ample reward. I throw back my head. I laugh. It reverberates in the empty, splintered ceiling. Beautiful, I muse. It's a cold kind of beauty, but it's beautiful. Just like death. My eyes drift onto Rui's face. I only stand there, an irreplaceable calm stilling all other thoughts. I can almost see it from here. Her fragile, pale body laid against the ground like a princess in slumber. Maybe she'd be smiling a peaceful smile. I'd like that. She would... What is happening? She would be lovely, quiet, vulnerable, weak. She'd be standing here, frozen in shock, the images swimming before her in a macabre production. Weak. She'd be trying to call the police, but her fingers would slide across the bloody surface of her phone to no avail. Weak. I wish that we could trade places. I wish that I would be the one lying on that floor. She would be the one, slumping against the wall with her useless phone clasped in her trembling fingertips. Wish I'd be the one with my jaw solidified in horror. She'd be the one with a peaceful, emotionless smile. I wish that I would be gone, drifting away in a soulless wind, and she would be here, her spirit tortured and rent apart but alive. I've wished many things, most of them too ridiculous to name. This too must be ridiculous. My vision blurs. Perhaps I care, perhaps I don't. Something clatters to the ground, steeped gently in Rui's pool of blood. Time wears drearily on. I see nothing. I hear nothing. There's nothing in my mind but a pale reflection. A glimmer of scarlet ribbon fixed behind my eyelids. The clock ticks. I talk. Of all people, Rui Hayata. We had just escaped a serial killer. We'd just been stretched to our wits' end. We'd just been in intensive therapy for 3 months. It was certainly a hefty debt for life to repay. An innocent, gentle-hearted girl thrust into something that snatched away her ability to talk. She deserved the world. She could have grown up, married a guy who was madly in love with her, had 1.6 children, lived in a house with a white picket fence. This? What is this? This is beyond simple injustice. This is just cruelty. Life is cruel. Death is cruel. And Rui has to pay the price for their damn little games. Treating her like a pawn on a chessboard. An insignificant sacrifice for a meaningless play. I can't stand it. She never deserved this, any of it. I lash out blindly. The heel of my foot splinters against something wooden, stabbing deep into my leg. Pain feels distant, like my limbs are detached from my head. Might as well be. After fighting so hard to keep it all together, slamming ourselves repeatedly into a wall until it shatters with our broken bodies. Rui's still dead. Then the pain. A hammering, hollow circle of agony in my arm and in my foot drives to a sudden frenzy. I'm assaulted with the sensations, bright and fierce and angry, corkscrewing direction into the marrow of my bones. No more Rui. No more Rui. No more bright smiles and flushed cheeks and teasing winks and exasperated, loving little sighs. My calf clenches in sudden agony. I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from screaming. No more. No more fretting like a mother hen, and totally extra lunchboxes, and tiny little signs of jealousy. The throbbing in my arm rises to my shoulder, past my neck, right into my skull. I cradle my head in my arms, desperate. No more casual trips to GFC and random moments of make-believe and strolls around downtown. Because life as you know it, is gone. Tears squeeze from below my eyelids, mixing with the flecks of blood and bile smeared over my face. Stop. Just make hell stop. Not Rui, not Mizu. There's pain, so much pain. Too much, I can't handle it, I can't handle this. Everything hurts and I just can't. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and Jill fell. Broke. Fell and broke her. And Jack came tumbling after. Then Jill's corpse comes to life. It jerks upright. Limbs tied to loose ends of puppet strings. Smiles at me through a sheen of red. Oh, Jack, you're late. Iron shoves up my nostrils and strangles down my throat. I choke, working to speak. Sorry. She pitches forward, pushed by something invisible. Her slender fingers wrap around my neck and dig into my throat. I catch a whiff of her breath. Putrid, rancid, the smell of raw old eggs and decaying meat. The smell makes me gag over my own tongue. You shouldn't have been late. Her fingers disintegrate into bone. Skin cells blown to ash over the wind. They clatter into an orderly pile, forming a makeshift xylophone. Tiny little notes begin to ring from their skeleton surfaces. It's supposed to be a melody. You can feel the vibrations in the air. I know the song's supposed to be beautiful. But my ears hear only dissonance, cacophony, a dirge for a murder of crows. And pungent, burning smoke shoots from the stove like an arrow, slapping me in the face. Hospitality. It should have been hospitality. Don't do this. Come back. My surroundings melt away. I squint against the screeching, agonizing white that stabs at my eyes. The light only intensifies. No rest. Never rest. You are trapped, you fool. There's no other place for you. I reach out. The brightness pricks my hands. I slither backward. Just stop it. The light advances and digs through my fingernails. Bleeds past my eyelids. Settling in this space at the back of my neck. I pound myself against invisible walls. I rattle. Chimes on a wooden bridge. No place, no peace, no pace. Stop it! Everything ends. Elsewhere. Something must be beginning. But what is that to an ending? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But this... I can't do anything about this. This is out of my control. Out. To be continued. Oh, God. I was sure I fucked up and that was like a bad ending. Fuck. This fucking bitch. Man, this was so well done. Like, speaking strictly from a story standpoint, a sequel is gonna be a fucking tall order, though. Project. Oh, I recognize that. God. It leaves you with... Oh God, man, my hearing is like altered from... I don't know, my heart's doing something. You got this weird... Like this... That fucked me up a little. Just for the record, when people talk about, like, you know, no spoilers, if I knew any of that was coming, then I wouldn't have gotten like a tenth of what I got out of the story. If I already knew like that was gonna fucking happen. Like, Jesus Christ. The music room's finally open. Really? Was there this much? So, I guess this is what's always been playing. I'm looking for one. There it is. Right? Will that stay on? Cool. So what the fuck happens here? Oh, wait. What is her necklace? I'm definitely gonna do some follow-up, but I can't do any more tonight, cause like I think I'm gonna go back to the beginning and just systematically skip through to figure out whatever the achievements are. I know one of them is this Govermecker thing. That's probably what the other CG image is. Complete the common route. What does that mean? That there are other endings? Oh, jeez, I don't know. Well, I thought we were nearly coming to the end of this, but there's still shit to be done. And I just feel sick. Like emotion sick, oh, God. And I want to recommend this to people, but no, I absolutely would recommend this to people. I just feel like not enough people would, get all the way through it. Yeah, so I guess tomorrow or another day I'll start working on shit, but for now I need to grieve and mourn. Oh, God. Just out of curiosity. Oh, right, the very beginning was blood. Yeah, alright, so that's it for now. Good night, everyone.